During the fight, he was like ready, like he knew it's him or her, and like he must answer her feelings in earnest. And then like after the fight, it's like I don't ever want to fight you again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this guy.
What? The crowd loves us. They're clapping.
Yeah, they're clapping all right. Clapping and interrupted. Welcome back to Herbal Synergies, the shop. I'm your host, Sinji. With me, my co-host, as always, Irby.
What's up?
What's up, Irby?
Same old, same old.
Rick Rossing it.
One could say that.
I might disagree.
Then you be the one that won't say that.
Agreed.
Yeah, so there we are. And thus you have it.
What is your flavor this week, big guy?
Oh boy. I liked all of what Boruto did. That chapter was magnificent.
Olive?
Yep. The whole thing. I just like Boruto. But
Ki-
also
Kind of weird that Kawaki wasn't at least trying to pretend to be
her
Himwari's brother.
yeah. We'll get to that later. But yeah, I also enjoyed Reign of the Seven Spellblades.
Yeah, my
Uh,
flavor's in that.
yeah, that fight was also exquisite. Um,
Indeed, it was.
yeah, and even Thorfinn this week, I was like, look at my boy. Look how they done massacre my boy.
Yo, that ankle's gonna be swollen.
Man. But yeah, all good stuff. Yeah, I don't think Liar Liar had much for me other than the I did like the big brain move they did. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, continue with your flavors.
Excuse me. My flavor is coming out of Spellblades, and it's when Oliver and the Now almost killed each other.
Hmm.
I was like, ooh, and didn't
Yeah.
even notice. And like they had completely two different reactions to it.
Oh, like yeah, that one. I was like, oh, I was like, oh, something just seemed weird because someone did something. I was like, oh, that's weird. And then you know,
Yeah,
fight
my,
was cold.
my girl was like, let's do this again. Like, yo, you do realize one of you almost didn't make it out of there.
Yeah,
Or you want to do that again?
yeah, Mm-mm. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and kick it off with some liar, liar?
Episode 5, A Fighting Chance in Eyes of Blue. Hito is speculating that Noah isn't the mastermind behind this little concocted scheme she pulled up, and Kaguya strode in drunk, and they ended up having to break the news to her, they being Hirito and Rina. Shiroyuki requested a scaling love triangle game, which the name of the game seems kind of weird considering what you actually do in this game. And the way this game works is it's a card game again, another card game back to back, where you have I believe 10 cards each, and there's a bonus card in the middle, and you have to play the higher valued card and finish with the most pairs to win. Um, Draws stay on the board until someone eventually wins and winner takes all. And the way the cards are lined up is royalty beats royalty beats knights and commoners, knights beat assassin and commoner, assassin beats royalty, commoners beats nothing, but commoners have special abilities that we'll get into. King beats prince, prince beats queen, queen beats king. Um, Again, the commoners have special abilities that like make more valuable if you use them correctly. For example, a commoner's ability could be like if this turn ends in a draw, then you win the next hand, or if you succeed in fulfilling the conditions to this card, you take half of your opponent's cards. Stuff like that. It takes a little skill to um, use it, but Shirayuki ended up texting Hiruto that she will be using probability fluctuation level 4 and force control. So by this they deduce, because there's only two possible, which is also kind of weird to me. There's only two possible hands to start off with, which is supposed to be at random, and A is clearly the stronger hand by what they surmised. And with probability fluctuation, Shirayuki can bypass the random handing of the cards, and she landed herself the A. With force control for 3 turns, she could pick what cards Hidito were using. So once she revealed that, the crew really knew that he was losing 3 cards right off the bat, 3 strong cards. So once speculating what to do here, the plan was to create an ability that is similar to a 6-star ability to change the effects of a card. Um, After they came up with that plan, they talked it, shut it down for the night, and for some reason, Rina had to stay over because it was too late. And then for some reason again, she had to sleep in the same room as Hirito. Thoughts on that?
Nah, that probably may have been one of the only beds in there. I don't know.
Nah, where does Shirayuki sleep?
That was her bed in there.
Nah, I doubt it.
No, that was her bed, dog.
Definitely not.
That was
Um,
her bed.
so she comes up with the excuse that she doesn't want to be alone. Rina, and like after talking for a little bit, Rina says that like Hirito was born to cheat. And I was just like, that's nice to say, I guess. And moving along, they Hirito has a little conversation with Noah, and like Noah has like some issues. Like I feel like she says like this "I must be accepted" issues, but whatever. We get on to the game, and like for the most part, it's starting off exactly how um they were figured, and then Shiryuki took a different card that they were expecting, and Hiruto had to really think because he was trying to figure out like why would she do that? Why would she do that? Why wouldn't she take this? And he remembered she said, "Don't win tomorrow's game," but then he put two and two together. She never said don't lose tomorrow's game, so he started playing and ended up forcing a draw, which pissed off Noah, and she kind of came forth and said, I put in all this effort, and I hate that someone came in and just took 7 stars on their first day. There's no way that's legit. You're a liar, you're fake, and I want to expose you. So she has this last ditch plan with a virus she put on Shidoyuki's phone, and the plan is to like if the point of the virus, the way she held Shidoyuki captives was if she didn't listen or something, blah blah blah, like everything was gonna get exposed. But then the virus went away, and then it was a 2-part phase hack job. And it was like now if you don't do this, her phone will be destroyed, and she'll have to vacate the academy. So let's have an honest duel. And she also revealed that there was someone else behind the curtains. It was Mr. Oz.
Yeah. Forcing to play the game. Yeah. I probably would have led with the that she was like, "Oh, don't lose tomorrow." She's like, "Don't try to win tomorrow." That way, might be a little bit more suspense right there, baby. But nah, it's yeah, that's a big brain play. Like it turned out they had like a whole code word to say, "Oh, some sort of trouble or something rather. And I was like, oh man, that's kind of like when Sam Medine had that code in Supernatural. You probably don't remember
I'm currently rewatching, so I will remember eventually.
eventually, but you won't. But he's like, yeah, when Sam's like, yeah, well, no, when Dean's like, yeah, I'm having a real funky time or something. That was like code word for saying, oh, I got someone, he has a gun trained on me. I was like, oh yeah. So I was like, oh, big brain move. Oh, the scenario. I was like, yeah, that's great.
That's great.
So, but yeah, it was a good episode. Wasn't up there, like the rest of these episodes, but they're pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I did enjoy that.
It's like it's like mid but enjoyable mid.
Mid, but enjoyable mid.
Yeah. Like
Wow.
it's not like an anime you're dying to see, but like it's not one you mind watching either.
Oh, I can't wait to see the next episode.
I don't even believe you.
You never believe anything I say.
Because you always trolling.
No, not me.
Especially.
I'd never be trolling.
Falser words have never been spoken.
Nope. Cause I don't be trolling, dog.
Moving on. Unfortunately, no Jujutsu episode this week.
Yeah, I was a little sad about that one. I was like, man, I can't wait to read it, figure out what's going on. But nope, it doesn't even happen.
Hey, but we got a Boruto episode.
We did. That was a pleasant surprise. But getting into Reign of the Seven Spellblades, Season 1, Episode 2, Sword Arts Online. So the group reconvenes. They meet before class to get some breakfast. So, and then this is where we find out the whole definition of what sword art means. My boy, Bookworm Pete, he's in there. He's like, oh, I know the answer. And this is when everyone tries to start to slander him. Talking about, isn't he just an ordinary? I'm like, nah, y'all already know what was going on. Pete know. So he gives a definition of what sword art is. Specific combat techniques performed with the use of a FEMA.
Mm-hmm.
And this all came about because I think it was Will Battlewell, or with Battlewell lost. He lost a duel to a non-magical. And so I was like, oh man, that's pretty drastic to create a whole thing just because you lost. Sounds like a sore loser to me.
Sounds like a sore loser to me.
But yeah, so then that happens, and then the teacher asks for volunteers, and this is when Nanao was like, "Yeah, I'll volunteer," but he's like, "Oh, you may be too skilled." I was like, "Oh, my boy's skilled." And then Richard Anders, he volunteers. He's another pompous nobility type, you know. Got to show out like, "Oh, this is me. I'm big and bad. Look at me now. I'm getting paper." But yeah, so then boy Oliver, he volunteers, and this is when the battle starts, and I was like, oh man, they really going at it. I was like, this is great. I was enthralled by the movements, the slashing, the dodging. She looked like she had him on the ropes, and he was like, oh, I can't just I gotta dodge. Can't just dodge. I got to deflect too because it was like she was kind of strong. I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a good one.
Her blood has
And
her sword has seen blood.
it sure has tasted the sweet blood. But I did think it was a nice, cool touch that the teacher was like, hey, here's a non-killing spell, so y'all can pretty much do whatever you want. And so I thought it was cool how he used the whole spell to like take away her footing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they cast out the lethality spell. That's part where I was like, oh, the sword did something weird. And then this is when the teacher's like, stop it. That's enough. y'all canceled out the spell, which kind
Which
of makes me.
what was weird to me about like I fully expect Oliver to be able to cancel out a spell, but Nanao is not that talented with magic. I'm surprised that she was able to subconsciously cancel out the spell.
It's probably one of those ones where like battle does it to you, or like a battle fever, or you get like a battle rage where like your body just does stuff and doesn't know why it does stuff.
Hmm,
And so I could see how that happened, or he might have just been in such close proximity that he canceled out both of them.
maybe.
Who knows? But yeah, I thought it was fitting. And then the rest of the people like, yeah, I don't need to spar. They canceled it down. So yeah, it was good. But it kind of makes me think. You haven't seen that show, but I think there's more to Oliver than meets. I think he might have been like a child prodigy on the battlefield.
Like almost a Ayano Koji,
I wouldn't say.
where like he left his like the his environment where he was bred and trained and like made into this all popping, but now he's trying to like blend into normal society.
I would say maybe the blending part, but yeah, it kind of reminds me of another show.
I just kind of think I think it's weird how he also switched up. Like during the fight, he was like ready, like he knew it's him or her, and like he must answer her feelings in earnest. And then like after the fight, it's like I don't ever want to fight you again.
Yeah, because he was like, oh, he's like, I'm not gonna use magic. He's like, you know what? I ought to use magic because that's what real competitors do. So
And there's
yeah, the fight
already an
can.
awkwardness between them.
Yeah, yeah, there is. So the fight concludes, and she now is like, "Oh, that's the most fulfilling fight I ever had." She's like, "Someday, we ought to finish it." And Alvar's like, "I never want to fight you again." I'm like, "Man, that's kind of harsh." And that's what made me think he was like a killing machine because like he couldn't go against the instincts. And so this part it was funny here because the lady, Miss Gilchrist, she's like, "Ah, I don't know why there's so many swords around. Like a true mage only needs this white wand." I'm like, spoken like a true person that doesn't like change, or you can't even pick up a sword because you might be weak. Who knows?
Yeah,
Uh,
people who can't adapt are
Soon left behind.
yes.
Yeah, so I was like, oh well, you're stuck in your ways. You should pick up a sword. I can see if you said you're too old, but you're not. So then we get to the animals class, and this portion of the class they have to make silkworms, five silkworms. Essentially, it's like chakra control because I have to feed them enough magic to where they'll make their silk, but not too much so that they convert to evil beasts. I'm like, huh, that is the way to go. But yeah,
Thought it was hilarious when what's Goldilocks name?
yeah. Well, Shelly,
Shelly.
Shella,
When she told Redhead, it's like just get your first five failures out the way and then I'll be there.
yeah. But yeah. So chakra control. Uh, let's see. Most of them get their stuff done, and there's like a few, and like the ones that turn evil that the use a flame spell on them and kill them. And I'm like, huh, that's not too bad. Um, and I say, was it? Oh, Katie's the redhead girl's name. So, but Katie, she wants to save all the creatures. So she's like making sure that like all 10 of hers like turn to silk so that they won't have to be killed or spared.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, she's in for a rude lesson here. And on her last one, it turns evil. And this is when Oliver and I forget the other woman's name.
Goldilocks.
yeah. Shelly, yeah, they jump in and they save her, but not after the moth had like bit her fingers and hurt her. I was like, oh man, she's in for a rude awakening.
And they got
And
deducted
so
points because Teach was like, "Don't help the other person; they have to kill their own mistakes."
yeah, and so it's like, oh man, yeah, you live and you learn. So yeah, so they walk into the infirmary and he's like counting her feelings and she's like, yeah, I did all that because I wanted to save living creatures and this and the other. And Oliver's like, hey, you can't save everybody and everything. Essentially, long story short. And then he went on was like, yeah, maybe just straight for change, but like, you can't just save them all. They're not Pokemon.
Right?
Yeah. And so then they eat dinner, and my boy Pete has to go search for his lost book. And
Okay.
Oliver and hmm?
Okay. Can I just say, when he lost his book, I thought the other kids in the class took it. The ones that were like talking shit on him for being like the kind of entry he is.
Yeah,
That's all I had to say about that. I was bamboozled.
yeah. I also was like, oh well, maybe they're trying to all leave to give Oliver and now some space, but nope.
Nah,
Yeah,
cause yeah, Oliver left too.
yeah. That's what like, oh. I was like, yeah, hmm. But
Sorry, maybe he'll
yeah,
catch her like bathing in the fountain again.
maybe I don't know. But then we found out that the school is based on like a moving labyrinth, and it changes every night. And then so they end up meeting this woman, and she can mesmerize. I think it was Ophelia Salvador Dore. She's a fourth year, and her when she speaks, and she does stuff that can mesmerize people. But Oliver and Shella are not affected by it at all. And then we meet a fifth year, Sarah's Riverheim. He's a fifth year,
Mm-hmm. One
and
year
I'm
more
like,
than
man,
her.
this.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this dude looked like a dad, bro. Like Ichigo dad out here. I was like, but yeah, it was a good episode. I'm excited to see where it goes to from now.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm like, the direction.
All right, let's get into some Vinland Saga.
Saga to Vinland.
Episode 9, The Battle of London Bridge. London turned the bridge into like a fortress for like defense, and like they thought it'd be easy to fight, but a guy named Thorkel sided with the London side. Um, and we learned a little bit more about Bjorn. Bjorn. He doesn't fight for money, even though he's with Askeladd. So like he just likes to kill, and Askeladd wants to use Thorfinn to kill Thorkel. And Thorfinn, as stubborn as he is, he wants a reward in exchange, which is also, we all know, a duel. So after Asalai knew he wanted a duel, and he says, "Bring me Thorkel's head, and I'll give you what you want." Um, Asalai actually kind of laughed a little, and Thorfinn threw a dagger through whatever he was holding in his hand, and Askeladd threw the dagger back at Thorfinn and said, "Just bring me his head, and I'll reward you with what you want." So Floki ends up um, going towards Thorkel, and Bjorn speculates that Floki's gonna offer him money, but really Floki was just like, "Why did you wanted to ask like, what are you doing? Withdraw right now and come talk to the king." And we learned a little bit more about Thorkel and how he's kind of like Bjorn. He just wants like the adrenaline of a fight. He likes to fight. So he actually sided with the London side purely because he knew they were weak and he thought he'd have more fun fighting with them because they were like clearly the losing side. Floki then tried to buy him out, but he just grabbed a giant freaking log that had a pointed end and threw it down and tried to pierce their boat, but they ended up retreating for the time being.
No, he threw the rock first.
Oh, the boulder. That's right. He threw the boulder.
Yeah.
Um, After Floki reported to King Swain and said that Thorkill cannot be swayed, King Swain said attack immediately. And while the all the boats were heading towards the London Bridge and Thorkill said attack, I ended up agreeing with him. The London people are trash. They had no aim. They couldn't hit people right underneath them. It just wasn't a good time. The only thing that saved them was that Thorkill started grabbing the logs I mentioned earlier, and he did his move called the Log Dropper. No, not good timing. I understand. How dare you? No reaction. Okay.
Double
Continuing.
crickets.
Thorkill's he's chasing away the all the other boats, and then Askeladd's boat is nearing the bridge and they're getting concerned about getting too close, but Askeladd's just a little further, and when they get close enough he signals Thorfinn to go. Thorfinn runs across the mast and he jumps all the way to where Thorkill is. Thorkill tells um everyone to back off. He's got this. So then Thorkill and Thorfinn start fighting. Um Thorfinn dodged and kept dodging Thorkill while he was swinging the log, and he got a couple cuts in. Um when he got swung, he dodged and like did a big backwards thing and like pulled out his knife and like distanced himself from Thorkill. Thorkill put down the log and put up his fist. Thorfinn took that as like being underestimated, but when they got close, he realized that like no, this dude's quick and strong. Thorfinn managed to dodge again, and he ended up cutting Thorkill's wrists. Thorfinn came up with a plan because he's so big, he needs to be able to reach his weak point. So, um, he ran at him and like made it so that he knelt down, and when he went to go for the lethal blow, Thorkill used his hand to stop the dagger. Like the blade went through his hand, and with the blade in his hand, he just held on to Thorfinn and like whipped him around like a towel and beat the
He
shit
did a
out of him.
Naruto when you had to use the Rasengan on Kabuto.
Yeah,
I was
like
like,
that.
"Ooh!" I was like, "Oh, that hurt me." And he just was like, "Wham, wham!" And then, like when the Hulk got slammed around by Thanos,
Yes, exactly like that.
or when
Um,
Darkseid did that to Superman.
After Askeladd sees Thorfinn getting his ass handed to him, they decide to retreat. And Thorko's like wondering where everyone went. He lowers Thorfinn's body and is like, "Oh, you dead?" And then Thorfinn twitches and like grabs his dagger and cuts off Thorkill's fingers and finds a way. Thorkill becomes impressed with Thorfinn and asks us what's his name. So Thorfinn introduces himself. I already had a feeling that Thorkill knew exactly who Thor's was because Floki knew who Thorkill was.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, Thor's," because he used Thor's name and in the little thing he was saying. It's like, "Yeah, Thor's or whatever." I was like, "Oh, so he's dead, but you still want to invoke his name?
Hmm.
Some person you are. You're a scumbag." Absolute scummy scum.
Um, Thorfinn ended up going into the river and swimming away, and Thorkill was yelling out like, "Hey, I was having fun. Let's finish this." And like, dude wasn't like he wasn't pissed. He was missing fingers. He didn't care about the two fingers. He was just having fun fighting Thorfinn. So he was just like, "Let's finish this," which I think would soured Thorfinn a little more. But
It did.
King Swain decided like this was a lost cause. It wasn't worth doing it. They'll keep 4,000 men there and continue to attack while they head to a different location because they can't afford to keep wasting time trying to take the London Bridge.
Falling
But
down.
by the time Thorfinn resurfaced, no, you missed your cue.
Nah, I did it.
You
It
get
did. Nope.
this is also sufficient.
Maybe for you.
Whoa. By the time Thorfinn resurfaced from the water, he knew that he had a dislocated shoulder, a sprained ankle, and some broken ribs. And I assumed that he would, when he ran into Askeladd's crew, and Askeladd said, "Hey, I'm going. It's up to you to stay, but I won't wait up for you." I thought Thorfinn was gonna just stay there because he had to settle that score, but no, he limped away with the army.
Yeah.
By the way, song's still hype.
Might be.
I gotta add that song to my playlist. I think I keep saying that, but you know.
Yeah. Mm.
Anything else you would like to talk about, Irby?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that last episode of Boruto real quick.
Oh, that's right. We
Boruto.
didn't talk about
Yeah.
Boruto. That's right.
Boruto 2 Vertex. Chapter 2 Tree. So we find out that there's a 2 year time skip. And my man looks way older than 2 years. I'm like, y'all sure did grow a whole lot. What they feeding these kids outside the village?
Was Shippuden 2 years or three?
I think it was like 2 and 3/4 or something like that.
Hmm.
It was almost 3 years.
Okay, carry on.
Yeah. So yeah. And then so there's 2 years it took Code's still attacking the village, and Boruto tells him to withdraw and I'll let you live. And I was like, oh man, my man's pretty strong. And then this is what had me thinking right here. I was like, so were the 2 years like how Sasuke went and trained away for 2 years? How he was using like I wanted to say forbidden, not forbidden magic or different forbidden jutsu to get him strong. Because remember how he came back and Naruto came back and Sasuke was leagues ahead of Naruto.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering, is that like Boruto is just real super strong?
Um,
We don't know yet because he talked about killing Code and Code's pretty strong.
he's also talking about like fighting the Ten Tails, or like he wants at least he wants to be taken to the Ten Tails for some reason.
Hey,
So,
you skipped way too far ahead, my guy.
well, no, now that you're asking, I'm speculating.
Nah, you could have speculated later, like an hour later.
Oh,
Just jumped
I'm
it
all
all
about
ahead.
Warhead Sour Taffies.
Nah. Anyhow, I'll continue. Yeah, so the Inoshika Cho group, they're fighting some monsters, they're leveled up monsters. And I'm like, oh, okay. Interesting. Kawaki shows up and him and Wari had fell out of the plane that Inoujin was not playing the bird because the thing attacked them and they ended up saving her, but she's like, "Oh, big brother," and Quarky's like, "Don't call me that." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's kind of weird for your little sister. Can't call you big bro. Like that's a red flag right there. If I ever didn't seen one." Uh, and so they get the fighting. I'm like, "Yeah." Boruto Code fight. He just slicing up all the monsters. I'm like, "Oh, you go, guy." And Boruto's like, "You don't understand the true terror of the Ten Tails. I'm like, oh man, what's the true terror, Boruto? Tell us, but you don't.
He doesn't.
Yeah, and then we flip to Sarada. And she's fighting, and when her back's turned, one of the things try to attack it. A ninja saves her. He jumps out, and the thing bites him, and he ends up turning into a tree-like substance. I'm like, oh man, that's weird. Must have used this like instead of becoming clay, he became chakra tree. So yeah, and then we found out that they're just mindless creatures that keep attacking things until they find an Otsutsuki. And then Boruto tells Ko to withdraw again. He's like, I'll let you live. In exchange, you take me to the main body, the Ten Tails. And then he's like, killing you is easy. Don't die in vain. Do something for the world. And then there was Rasengan Uza Hiko. And that's where they ended. So lots of speculation. So we got to wait a whole nother month to see.
What do you think the Sharingan Uzahiko is?
You mean the Rasengan?
Oh yeah, the Rasengan Uzahiko.
I don't know. Um, I think the etymology or something was like a word or a structure or something. I don't know. It could be. It's definitely going to be probably swirling wind based something.
Cause like you saw how he had that like two rings around him when he said it and did it. What
Yeah,
if it kind of fuses like um the Rasengan with palm rotation?
could be. That's what I think that's what some people were speculating about. I was like, we'll see. I
Hmm.
can't wait to see though, because I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to see
We'll see in about a month from now.
in a month. But yeah, I do like how he has Sasuke's traveler's sword. But where's Sasuke in all of this? My man should be there, but he's not.
Maybe talking to Shikamaru or trying to.
Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's Maybelline.
Or maybe he's just trying to locate the Ten Tails and Boruto's like, I got this, Sasuke.
It's like I'll pick up some information on my trek while I'm there.
But my man doesn't have the Rinnegan no more, so like maybe he's not the best for finding things.
Yeah, I don't think he can get um
Yeah, that's what he could do
in those
anything.
dimensions. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and you know
I
what?
mean, I feel
Boruto
like they
said
can
like
fix
kill.
that.
Boruto said killing Code was like an easy task, and he didn't even use like the karma mark.
Or his eye.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great. I'm looking forward to next month's episode.
I'm surprised Kawaki like left Boruto so easily.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel that was a little strange, but okay. Yep. Anything else, Irby?
No, I'm not looking at anything.
Alrighty, guys. We'll catch you next week. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace.
Peace.